All right, so let me tear this story apart, and let's just start with what happened. This happened last spring, okay? The lame duck presidency. Right around the same time when, I don't know if you heard the story that I talked about last hour about the auto pen scandal. Apparently everything that Biden signed was done by auto pen, except for him saying, I'm not going to run. That's weird, isn't it? So right around that same time, April 2024, the Biden-Harris administration, via the EPA, handed over $7 billion of your money to a ghost called the United Climate Fund. Oh, that's a good name. Therefore, the climate. Now, $7 billion, that's not the real story. This was all part of a $20 billion jackpot from the Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund. That was tacked in and tucked in so you couldn't really find it in the so-called Inflation Reduction Act that had nothing to do with reducing inflation. Nothing. It was a scam. So it was all about the green thing. They sold us climate salvation, but what it really was robbery. Okay, this fund wasn't some titan of green innovation. They're like, we've dedicated our whole lives. It popped up in Delaware on November 30th, 2022. It was barely 5 months old when the cash started to flow. Okay, its tax filings, a complete disgrace. Its first year, it had $547,000 in revenue. It blew through and just torched 451 of those things in 2 months. $451,000 in 2 months. Then $323,000 just vanished in other expenses. I mean, it's a black hole. No explanation. Just, I don't need to tell you. The legal fees gobbled up more. The vague promises of $50 million in solar projects. That's what they were saying. Well, we're $50 million. Where was any of that? Then the mask slips off. We find out that they were funneling cash to power forward communities. Oh, God. Don't just some of the names of these organizations just piss you off? Just if somebody came to you and said, I'm for power forward communities, I'd slam the door in your face. Not interested. All right. That thing is tied to Stacey Abrams. So a political insider gets a bunch of money because she's a teacher's pet. No transparency on that. No accountability. It's just a shell. Stacey Abrams, this power forward communities. If you thought the other one was a sham, she had only raised $100. $100. Not $100,000. $100. You could get that from the guy who's begging on the street. If you want to rob him, I'll bet you if he spends a couple of days just at a street corner, he's got $100, maybe even a day. That's all she could raise for her own organization. And then suddenly Biden comes in and is like, all you need is $2 billion. Oh, that seems right. So there's no transparency. There's no accountability. In December, it was Project Veritas that caught an EPA official spilling the truth on this one. He said this was an insurance policy against Trump winning. Now, what does that mean? What does that mean? So all it was a desperate cash dump before the clock ran out. They're giving it to their friends. Why? Now, under the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, they blew the lid off of this thing. The $20 billion was stashed at Citibank. It's being clawed back now by the government. It isn't incompetence. It's calculated theft. That's what it is. Theft of your money, your labor, your nation, quite honestly. So now, that's what happened. Now, here's what it means, and let me give you some historic perspective here. I want you to feel this in your gut, and it's going to sound like it's no big deal, but I want you to really understand what just this one piece means directly to you. $7 billion is $20 per American, not taxpayer, per American. Family of four, When you tally in the full $20 billion, that's $240 that's just gone from your bank account. Actually not, because take $240 per family and then just add the interest rate that we're going to be paying China for that borrowed cash. It's going to be a lot more than that. So that's groceries, gas, your kids' school supplies, gone. Where did it go? Stacey Abrams' big pockets. And she's a big person, so she has big pockets. Now, even if you have Stacey Abrams-sized pockets, that's not pocket change. Historically, this dwarfs, oh, did he just use the word dwarf? Yes, I did. Dwarfs scandals that we have learned. Ever since, I don't even remember what it was, but the Teapot Dome scandal. When did it happen, kids? 1920. Can anybody tell me what it was? No, because you told me just to memorize the date when it happened. I know what happened in the 20s. I don't know anything else about it. So let me just remind you. In adjusted dollars, the Teapot Dome scandal that we are told we must memorize, that cost in today's adjusted dollars, $400 million. $400 million, and we're still teaching about that scandal. This is $20 billion. Okay. Really, you look at the Teapot Dome scandal now, and your kids should be like, rookies. Watergate was a break-in. Jail time. Prison. Break-in. It wasn't $1 billion siphon. No, there was no money stolen. Nothing happened in Watergate. Prison time. You know the savings and loan scandal? George Bush's brother was involved. Yeah, he was. And that scandal was $160 billion over 10 years. This is $20 billion, like, in a day. Hey, you know what? Call her up. Can we get the EPA on the phone? I'm $20 billion. Okay, so, I don't know. That's kind of fast. But we have AI now. Should be a little faster. So this is your money, your voice, gone. Constitution, Article 1, Section 9. It talks, no dollar will leave the Treasury without law. Law for us, apparently not for them. So remember, you're still working today. Every dollar you're going to make at work today is going to go to the federal government. When you break it out over a year, you will be working, I think it's this year till April 19th, from January 1st to April 19th, just to pay your taxes. And what happened to those dollars that you've worked from January 1st to April 19th this year? I don't know. Stacey Abrams stuffed it in her big butt someplace and money shooting out. To whom? I don't know. I worked hard for my money. What did Stacey Abrams do for hers? Okay, so now who's involved and who might be involved? Well, Biden-Harris, because they signed off on this. You know, Kamala Harris said this was her legacy, the Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund. All right, so good. Let's make sure she understands that's her legacy. Now, the EPA chief under Biden, Michael Regan, he was the bag man. He's the guy who doled out the millions. The Climate United Fund, their officers, I don't know. Scooby-Doo van, we're sending it out. The kids are going to be able to unmask him, eventually. But I don't know. Scooby's kind of old at this point. Even the Scooby snacks didn't keep him in that van very long. But their tax forms are hiding all of the names of the officers, so we don't really know. But Abrams' power forward, that one, what does that smell? It smells like rotting garbage. No, that's Stacey Abrams' power forward. Citibank held all the loot. No foul play proven yet, but they are in the frame. And Citibank, if you did anything wrong, I pray to God we come and get you too. The EPA whistleblower, he's a cog. But in their words, it's a cabal at the very top that knew this was just pre-election cash. That's all it was. All the monies, if you're a Democrat, all the money that you sent in, what was it? $1 trillion that people donated And you kind of went, where did that money go? Yeah, it lined the pockets. It's in Stacey Abrams' butt someplace. I think it is. I don't know that for a fact that that's where she keeps it, but it's kind of a big butt. So who else is involved? Dig a little deeper here. Who else is involved? Well, the Obama-era loyalists. I can't wait to tell you about that. Climate grifters, congressional enablers. They were the ones that slipped this into the law. The DOGE crew, Musk, EPA, the head of the EPA now, Lee Zeldin, I love you. They got the scalpel out, and it's kind of sharp. Justice and the Inspector General going to name names, or at least that's what they say. But understand, this is not a lone wolf. It's just a lone wolf. This is a whole pack, and they have been feeding on the American carcass. They got blood all over their face. I think we should go wolf hunting myself. Now, who could possibly be against tracking this down? Because not everybody is cheering DOGE and Elon Musk. In fact, he's a Nazi. Did you hear that? Oh, we don't have Nazis around here. I haven't heard anybody call anybody a Nazi, ever. Okay, so it's going to be the entrenched, the deep staters that are going to fight tooth and nail on this. They might even break out in song. We shall overcome. Good God, it's not 1965. Shut up. Anyway, they might break out in song. I don't know. But the climate lobby, these NGOs, the green tech firms, the banks, billions of dollars. And they're all going to say, but the planet is in peril. And that's why we don't know what would burn down. That's why we wanted to keep it someplace moist like Stacey Abrams' butt. Mm-hmm. Now, the Democratic operatives that are tied to Abrams and Joe Biden, yeah, they're not happy about this because they're going to be exposed. But here's what's going to be exposed: the Patrogen network. That's their lifeblood. That's how they keep. Have you ever wondered have you ever said this? Because I have. Where the hell are the Republican billionaires? Doesn't it seem like anybody who wants to, destroy the country, they got billions of dollars behind them, right? And you're like, the billionaires on the left, they just give all this money. No, you've been giving all of this money. They've been funneling your money to the tune of hundreds of billions of dollars to these people that want to destroy America. That's what's been going on. And then you have the bureaucrats in the EPA and the government. I mean, the careerists who would rather, they'd rather just go down with a fight because they're going to lose their fiefdom and then their power and their survival and the money and everything else. Look, $20 billion, a slush fund buys an awful lot of loyalty, influence, votes. You rip that away and the empire crumbles. Well, it doesn't crumble, but it's a good hit to that because there's hundreds of billions that are in these slush funds. And the big banks like Citibank, I think they're quietly squirming. They're not now. We had nothing to do with it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's what the banks of the mob says.